Jai Shri Shri Guru Gora Chandrakiri Rasyuki Jai Jai Om Vishupashila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Om Vishupashila Bhakti Rakshak Shri Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Good morning, Dandavat Pranams. Welcome to Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mission Morning Readings. Today we will be reading Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta, Lila Volume 1, Chapter 3, and Centenary Anthology, Pastimes, Glories and Teachings of Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Srila Maharaj. Welcome and good morning. Jai. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabdutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Om Jnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vamcha Kalpataruvyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahabhatanjaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namika Uradvishe Namaha Vindaya Tulasi Devyai Priyayai Kesavasyacha Krishna Bhakti Pradi Devi Satyavatya Namo Namaha Sakala Vaishnava Parimora Namaskara Ite Kishchua Paradanahu Kamara Oyachanabim Prabhu Jakta Bhaktajan Pandana Kuriyami Sabara Charanam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Shivandana Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta Ki Jai. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Pastimes of Lord Gaur Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We're reading chapter number 3, where Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj is revealing the external reasons for Lord Chaitanya's appearance. And the last thing that we read was demigods such as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva come in contact with the material energy, and their power and potency are therefore of different gradations. All the incarnations of Vishnu, however, are equal in potency, for the influence of Maya cannot even approach them. We're still reading very technical aspects of the absolute truth, which we can just hear and let them wash over our consciousness. We don't have to understand this. Let's just try to worship these verses and also take shelter in Srila Prabhupada. Jai. Text 72. Advaita Nityananda Chaitanyera Doi Anga Angera Avayava Gana Kahiye Upanga. Sri Advaita Prabhu and Sri Nityananda Prabhu are both plenary portions of Lord Chaitanya. Thus, they are the limbs, the angas of his body. The parts of these two limbs are called upangas. Text 73. Angopanga Tikshna Astra Pavura Sahite Seisava Astrahaya Pasanda Dalite. Thus, the Lord is equipped with sharp weapons in the form of his parts and plenary portions. All these weapons are competent enough to crush the faithless atheists. Purport. The word Pashanda is very significant here. One who compares the Supreme Personality of Godhead to the demigods is known as a Pashanda. Pashandas try to bring the Supreme Lord down to a mundane level. Sometimes they create their own imaginary God, or accept an ordinary person as God and advertise him as equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are so foolish that they present someone as the next incarnation of Lord Chaitanya or Krishna, although his activities are all contradictory to those of a genuine incarnation. And thus, they fool the innocent public. One who is intelligent and who studies the characteristics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with reference to the Vedic context cannot be bewildered by the Pashandas. Pashandas, or atheists, cannot understand the pastimes of the Supreme Lord or transcendental loving service to the Lord. They think that devotional service is no better than ordinary fruitive activities, karma, as the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 4, verse 8 confirms. However, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees, saving the righteous, and chastising the miscreants. Paritranaya satunam vinashaya chadushkirtam. Always curb these nonsensical atheists. Miscreants always want to deny the Supreme Personality of Godhead and put stumbling blocks in the path of devotional service. The Lord sends his bona fide representatives and appears himself to curb this nonsense. Text 74. Nityananda Goswami Sakshat Haladhara Advaita Acharya Goswami Sakshat Ishvara. Sri Nityananda Goswami is directly Haladhara, Lord Balaram, and Advaita Acharya is the personality of Godhead himself. Shivasari, text 75. Shivasari Parishara Sainya Sangilana Duisenapati Bulekirtana Kariya. These two captains, with their soldiers, such as Srivasa Thakur, travel everywhere, chanting the holy name of the Lord. Text 76. Pashanda Dalana Vananitanandaraya Acharya Hunkare Papa Pashandipalaya. Translation. Lord Nityananda's very features indicate that he is a subduer of the unbelievers. All sins and unbelievers flee from the loud shouts of Advaita Acharya. Text 77. Sankirtana Pravartaka Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sankirtana Jagyitan Revajya Saidanya. Lord Shri Krishna Chaitanya is the initiator of Sankirtana, congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord. One who worships him through Sankirtana is fortunate indeed. Text 78. Seita Sumedha Ara Kubuti Samsara Sarva Yagya Haite Krishna Nama Yagya Sara. Such a person is truly intelligent, whereas others who have but a poor fund of knowledge must endure the cycle of repeated birth and death, of all sacrificial performances. The chanting of the Lord's holy name is the most sublime. Purport. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the father and inaugurator of the Sankirtana movement. One who worships him by sacrificing his life, money, intelligence, and words for the Sankirtana movement is recognized by the Lord and endowed with his blessings. All others may be said to be foolish, for all sacrifices in which a man may apply his energy. A sacrifice made for the Sankirtana movement is most glorious. Text 79. Gotiyasva medhaeka Krishna namasama jikahesa pashandi dandatariyama. One who says that 10 million Ashvamedha sacrifices are equal to the chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna is undoubtedly an atheist. He is sure to be punished by Maharaja. Good morning, Kyo. Hare Krishna. Purport. In the list of the 10 kinds of offenses in chanting the holy name of the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, Hare Krishna, the 8th offense is Dharma Brata Tyaga Huttadi Sarva Shubha Kriya Samyam Api Pramadaha. One should never consider the chanting of the holy name of Godhead equal to pious activities like giving charity to Brahmans or saintly persons, opening charitable educational institutions, distributing free food, and so on. The results of pious activities do not equal the result of chanting the holy name of Krishna. The Vedic scriptures say, Gokoti dhanam gahane kagasya prajaga gangodaka kalpavasaha jagya yutam meru suvarna danam Govinda kirterna samam shatam shahi. Even if one distributes 10 million cows in charity during an eclipse of the sun, lives at the confluence of the Ganges and Yamuna for millions of years, or gives a mountain of gold in sacrifice to the Brahmanas, he does not earn 1/100th part of the merit derived from chanting Hare Krishna. In other words, one who accepts the chanting of Hare Krishna to be some kind of pious activity is completely misled. Of course, it is pious, but the real fact is that Krishna and his name, being transcendental, are far above all mundane pious activity. Pious activity is on the material platform, but chanting of the holy name of Krishna is completely on the spiritual plane. Therefore, although Parshandis do not understand this, pious activity can never compare to the chanting of the holy name. Jaya. Something that is helpful for us to kind of conceive or approximate the power of the holy names of the Lord is by remembering the first verse of the Shikshastakam. And that verse was written by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Cheto darpanam marjanam baba maha davagni nirvapanam Shreya kairava chandrika vitaranam jivyavadu jivanam Anandam Bhuri Vardhanam Pratipadam Purnamritasparanam. Sarvadma Snapanam Parambijayati Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. That the holy name of Krishna cleanses the mirror of the heart. And just like a lotus flower blossoms under the moon cooling rays, so does our soul blossom under the influence of the holy name. And the soul dives deep into the ocean of nectar again and again. And every facet, every version of ourselves that we may conceive is fully satisfied and fulfilled by the influence of the holy name. And Sudarshan Prabhu illuminates this verse in a beautiful way, saying that every second is full of nectar. Every second, so much nectar is being created for the Jiva souls. In every second. That is the victory of Sankirtana. That is the victory of chanting the holy names of Krishna. Sarvatma Snapanam Parambijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtana. So indeed, it's way more deep, way more meaningful, and way more inconceivable than just a simple pious activity such as giving charity, distributing free food, or anything like that. Text 80. Bhagavata Sandarbha Grantera Mangalacharane Eishloka Jivagoshani Karichayan Nabhyakyane. In the auspicious introduction to the Bhagavata Sandarbha, Srila Jiva Goswami has given the following verse as an explanation. Text 81. Anta Krishnam Bahi Gauram Darshitangadi Bhaivavan Kalau Sankirtanadhyai Isma Krishna Chaitanyam Asritaha. I take shelter of Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is outwardly of a fair complexion, but is inwardly Krishna himself. In this age of Kali, he displays his expansions, his angas, his limbs, and upangas, by performing congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada is giving a purport over here. Let's pay attention to what he says. Srila Jiva Goswami has placed the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, quoted in text 52, Krishna Varnam Vishak Krishnam, as the auspicious introduction to his Bhagavata Sandarbha, or Sat Sandarbha. He has composed this text 81, which is, in effect, an explanation of the Bhagavatam verse, as the second verse of the same work. The verse from Srimad Bhagavatam was enunciated by Karabhajana, one of the 9 great sages, and it is elaborately explained by the Sarva Sampadani, Jiva Goswami's commentary of his own Sat Sandarbha. Anta Krishna refers to one who is always thinking of Krishna. This attitude is a predominant feature of Srimati Radharani. Even though many devotees always think of Krishna, none can surpass the gopis, among whom Radharani is a leader in thinking of Krishna. Radharani's Krishna consciousness surpasses that of all other devotees. Lord Chaitanya accepted the position of Srimati Radharani to understand Krishna. Therefore, he was always thinking of Krishna in the same way as Radharani. By thinking of Lord Krishna, he always overlapped Krishna. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, who was outwardly very fair, with a complexion like molten gold, simultaneously manifested his eternal associates, opulences, expansions, and incarnations. He preached the process of chanting Hare Krishna, and those who are under his lotus feet are glorious. Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrta ki Jai. Jai Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki Jai. So as a summary and conclusion of these few verses that we read, and that Srila Prabhupada has revealed to us by mercy, those who are chanting the holy names of the Lord in congregation should consider himself fortunate. And the 8th offense of of chanting the holy name is considering it as a pious activity. It is not a pious activity. It goes beyond that. It's transcendental. And I remember Srila Sira Maharaj, Srila Guru Maharaj giving us an advice when chanting the holy names of the Lord. And that is first, of course, having a surrendered attitude, a surrendered mood. And then second is praying to the holy name. Praying that the holy name will be revealed to us. Jai. So, we have come in contact with the holy names, with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the one who inaugurated the Sankirtana movement in this age. We have came in contact with his devotees and associates or guardians who have given us initiation in chanting the holy names of the Lord. And I think we can just smile about that. Everything is all right. We're so fortunate. We have received it. We have received mercy. Now we just need to happily continue in the battle of killing our ego by chanting the holy name and, of course, surrender. Because Mahaprabhu also came to give Sharanagati. He came to give a proper acquaintance with the environment. So, that is our duty. Service, surrender, and chanting the holy names. Ki Jai. Jaya Centenary Anthology, Ki Jai. Pastimes, glories, and teachings of His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Shirodev Goswami Maharaj, Ki Jai. So, we're going to read today we were reading chapter 8, A Wonderful Touch. A devotee asked Srila Guru Maharaj, with such a bright prospect, meaning like the prospect of the goal of the process of Bhakti Yoga in the line of Sri Rupa, why do we sometimes find devotees leaving the Gaudiya missions? And the answer of Srila Guru Maharaj was that it would only happen only if there is something wanting in us. So we must try to keep up the high level we had during our Guru Maharaj day. Well, he was given that answer in that time. It was many decades ago. But essentially what Srila Guru Maharaj was explaining was that when a jiva is coming out of the clutches of Maya, then Maya comes like, please don't leave me. I will serve you. Don't leave me. I'm here for you. That is Maya. And then once the jiva soul cannot resist that illusory potency of the Lord, which is Maya, then the jiva soul decides to stay with Maya, enjoying. And then once he does that, Maya crushes that jiva soul and punishes it. So we are literally being fooled by your own misconception. It's all in our consciousness. So it's very funny that we're very conditioned due to our past activities. Our consciousness is covered by so much misconception that Srila Guru Maharaj explains this expresses this in the form of a question like this. Is there such a fool in the midst of our mortality in this world who will not worship He, meaning Mahaprabhu, who even the immortal worship? It is a great wonder that there can be such a person who will avoid such worship just to undergo all the mortal sufferings. And that is us. We will avoid such worship, such proper worship, which is not external only. We will avoid that such a worship just to undergo all the mortal sufferings. And we cannot lie about this. In my personal view of reality, I still want to generally go on with mortal sufferings. Generally, I still want to go and enjoy. So, I think that's it. I think that I'm a fool. And if I really want to know how to enjoy, I do need some mercy. I'm a fool. I need some mercy. And also, some self-determination is required too. do service, to follow Gurudev's instructions, and to remain equiposed in the cold and in the heat, as we read in the Bhagavad Gita. Alright. So, remember, when we're getting out of Maya's clutches, she's going to come back asking for mercy, asking for forgiveness, and she will serve us. She will give us everything. That's what she's going to say. But we must pass the test. Chapter 9, Faith and Harmony, by Srila Bhakti Rakar Shiradev Goswami Maharaj. Here, in the mundane plane, eliminating God, everyone is self-centered, therefore there is a clash and reaction. But in the higher realm, with harmony, there is no clash. In that plane, any apparent clash exists to promote inner wealth. In this mundane plane, there is apparent friendship, but inner animosity. But in the God-centered plane, there is apparent competition, but inner friendship, because the flow of God's service is common to everyone. Krishna consciousness is the most accommodating. We are to consider that it is beyond justice. It is the land of mercy consideration. Our highest goal is from the consideration of mercy, not justice. It is inconceivable. But above justice is the plane of mercy and affection. And that is Krishna consciousness. It even goes over what is our due. Therefore, it is high. The consideration there is crossing our capacity. So there is no room for any complaint. Everything is coming through affection, and it is not based upon any justice according to our capacity. So we have no right to make any judgment. If any position will be given to us there, it will be by extended affection. On the whole, to enter into the plane of divinity means grace. We have no rights, and He may not even allow us to enter there. Only we must have as our visa the goodwill to serve that land, and not engage in treachery. Otherwise, we will not be allowed entrance. Faithful contribution to that land is Shraddha, faith. With that we may be taken in. Not only taken in, but we shall find all home comfort there and full freedom. The fullest freedom is in Krishna consciousness, and that is above justice. The law of the country is ignored, and more benefit is allowed. We will get more freedom, comfort, and everything there in Vrindavan. Why? Because it is a transaction of natural faith and love, affection, etc. It is inconceivable. Achintya kaluye bhapa naktam starkena joyat jet. The Upanishads say, don't venture to test that plane with your reason. It is beyond the capacity of your thinking. It has different laws, so don't try to approach there with your calculations. It has different laws, as simple as that. We cannot calculate it. So, when we apparently see a clash between persons who are trying for realization, we must understand it properly. We might feel discouraged. They are approaching towards harmony, so why should they come in clash? But we find it happens, and it may be of different types according to the plane in which the clash takes place. In Vaikuntha, we find that the 4 Kumaras were going to visit Narayana, but Jaya and Vijaya appealed to them not to go at that time. The 4 Kumaras were infuriated and threw a curse upon Jaya and Vijaya. We sometimes find this apparently undesirable clash between the devotees, though ultimately it is all for some higher purpose for the Lord's satisfaction. Clashes can even be seen in Krishna Lila, Of course, in Vrindavan competition is of the highest type, and we are to understand that it is necessary. It is planned by Yogamaya to enhance the satisfaction of Krishna. Different plans are designed by Yogamaya, and the parent clash is designed purposely in order to produce a peculiar satisfaction in Krishna. Such things are found even within the various groups, including that of Srimati Radharani. In Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes, we find so many asuras set against his Lila, but those demons have a contribution. In a negative way, in that hero must have some incidents to show his heroism. To kill asuras is a part of a heroism. We even find clashes within the same group, groups within a group. But what is found we shall try to take as part of Lila. The criterion of Lila is that it happens for the satisfaction of the center. Right now we're reading why apparently we see a clash between persons who are trying for realization. They're approaching towards harmony. So why should they come in clash? And Srila Sridhar Maharaj is responding. He says that it happens for the fast satisfaction of the center. Lila. We shall try to take it as part of Lila. Is what he wants. We also find clashes, even severely, within the Lila of the most magnanimous incarnation of the Lord, Sriman Mahaprabhu. Advaita Prabhu and Srivasa Pandit presented themselves as members of the aristocratic class. But Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur represented just the opposite, the common mass. It is recorded in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat that one day soon after the miscreants Jaya and Madhai had been converted and included in the Sankirtan, Advaita Acharya revolted. You are taken in the ordinary people of the lower section. This makes it difficult for persons of dignified position like myself and Srivasa Pandit to remain here in this clan of Sankirtan. When Mahaprabhu heard this, it pierced him in the core of his heart. He could not tolerate such a statement. He immediately left the party, ran straight to the Ganges and hurled himself in the waters. Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur quickly followed the Lord, and they also jumped in. Nityananda took the Lord for his shoulders and Haridas by his feet, and they pulled him out from the waters of the Ganges. Mahaprabhu said, "All right, but I shall go and stay with Nandanacharya." Nandanacharya was a devotee whose home was on the banks of the Ganges, a short way from the town of Navadip. Mahaprabhu hid himself there and instructed, "Don't disclose to Advaita Acharya that I am here." Then Advaita Acharya Prabhu thought to himself, "What have I done? I could not control myself. My aristocratic sentiment came out so suddenly, and it hurt and struck the sentiment of Mahaprabhu so much that he fled and jumped into the Ganges." Advaita Acharya then fasted. He mourned, "What have I done?" After 2 days, news of Advaita Acharya's resolve to fast till death reached Mahaprabhu. Then Mahaprabhu's heart melted again, and he approached Advaita Acharya. "Acharya, get up. I am leaving my hideout and I am coming to you." Quoting a verse, he explained that by the order of minister representing the king, so many persons are hanged. But that same representative of the king who was hanged so many by the king's order, he also may be hanged by the order of the king. The absolute is such. Please don't mind. Now get up and take prasadam. In this way, Advaita Acharya was pacified. Furthermore, we hear that sometimes Mahaprabhu showed him honor due to his age. Jai Mahaprabhu. Advaita Acharya was very senior in age. He may even have been more senior than Mahaprabhu's father. However, he always considered that Mahaprabhu was not a man. Therefore, he constantly tried to show respect to him. But Mahaprabhu did not allow. What? You're a senior. You're in the rank of my guardians, the rank of my parents. You should not show honor to me. Rather, I am to show you honor. He began forcibly taking the feet dust of Advaita Acharya, who became distressed. Then Advaita Prabhu thought, I have to make a plan so I can receive his punishment. So he went to his Shantipur house and began to preach Jnanamarga, showing that Mukti is the highest end and Bhakti is lower. Mukti, liberation, is higher than devotion. The principle of Bhakti admits that God is fully independent. We may try to please Him, but He may or may not be pleased. It is His will. So what is the necessity of wild goose chasing? What is the necessity of wild goose chasing if He does what He wants? God may or may not be propitiated, and we may or may not get His grace. It is all uncertain, but Mukti is in our hand. By certain practices, we can enter into Samadhi. Therefore, Mukti is a real end and friend. We should take to that. In this way, Advaita Acharya began to preach the Shantipur camp. Advaita Acharya wanted to be chastised by Mahaprabhu, but Mahaprabhu was like, no, I'm not going to chastise you. You're a senior to me. You're in a higher rank of my guardians. Why would I chastise you? And then Advaita Acharya was like, okay, I'm going to preach Mayavadic philosophy, saying that Mukti, liberation, is higher than devotion. Because the Lord does what He wants. He's like a wild goose. Why should we chase a wild goose if we may or may not get His grace? So, therefore, Mukti is a real friend. Liberation is a real friend. It's in our hands. So, this news of Sri Advaita Acharya preaching Mayavadic philosophy reached Mahaprabhu. Advaita Acharya used to preach for your camp, but now he preaches against your principle. Then, one day, Nityananda Prabhu and Mahaprabhu went to Shantipur. And what I seen, Mahaprabhu began to give a good beating to the old Acharya. Why have you invited me and brought me down here? By your invitation and attraction I have come down, but now you're going against me. What is your reason? Mahaprabhu began to slap him. Haridas Thakur shuddered. What is this? I am seeing inconceivable things. Nityananda Prabhu stood there and thought himself to be releasing something, and wondering what more things would come out. Sita Thakurani, Advaita's wife, protested, No, don't beat that old man so hard. He will be finished. Stop your beating. But Advaita Acharya came through smiling. Now I have taken revenge on you. You always come to take my feet dust. But now see, you have come to punish me. So, who is superior, myself or you? In this way, Acharya came out smiling and everything was pacified. Rather, Mahaprabhu was a little indisposed. Sometimes we see such things also within the devotee section. Such things are there. Wow. So, Srila Srila Maharaj was sharing these pastimes of Mahaprabhu and his associates, just to remind us that a clash between devotees is normal. A clash between two individuals that are trying to attain the same goal, which is harmony, love and affection. They're coming into clash. Why? Because that is meant for the pastimes of him. That is meant to fulfill the purpose of the center. Because that is there to fulfill his Lila, his pastimes. So even imagine just that scene. Mahaprabhu is slapping Sri Advaita Acharya, apparently a senior devotee, a more senior devotee than Mahaprabhu, is slapping him. So just imagine, externally that will seem like, what is going on? The Lord is beating up his devotees. This is unacceptable. No, that is externally, but internally, that is full of nectar for sure. Even Advaita Acharya, the one that was being punished by Mahaprabhu, was smiling. So Jai, Srila Sridhar Maharaj ki, Jai, Jai Centenarian Anthology ki, Jai. Pastimes, glories and teachings of His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Sridhar Goswami Maharaj ki, Jai. So we must remember, we're not in a path where we are trying to find peace or equilibrium. That we're not going to be bothered by others. No. We're in the path of devotion, and joy is our goal, not peace. So whenever we come into clash with somebody else, that is perfect, because that is our chance to practice our real religion, tolerance, humility, and giving honor to others. That's it. We don't have to understand many of these high pastimes, just humility, tolerance, and honor to others without expecting honor back. So we come in clash with another devotee, that's mercy. And that is a great chance for us to do great advancement, not to be quarreling with the environment. Time to get it together. Jai Mahaprabhu. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Gopal Govindaram Srimadusudana Giridhari Gopinata Madana Mohana Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Jaya Rupa Sanatana Vata Raghunata Shri Jiva Gopala Vata Dasa Raghunata Echai Gosai Kori Charana Vandana Jahute Vinana Shavista Purana Echai Gosai Jaramui Taradasa Tasavara Padarenu Mora Panchagrasa Taderacharana Sevi Vaktasane Janame Janame Mora Avilasa Echagosai Jave Vraje Koilavasa Ratha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakasha Anande Volo Hari Vajavrindavana Shri Guru Vaishnava Parima Jai Jamana Shri Guru Vaishnava Para Padma Koriya Shahari Nama Sankirtana Kohe Narottama Dasa Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Jaya Gurudeva 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 Jaya Gaura Sundar 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 Nitai Gora Haribol, 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 Nitai Gora Haribol, Nitai Gora Haribol, 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 Nitai Gora Haribol. Jai Misupa Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Misupa Srila Bhakti Raka Srila Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan, Jai Misupa Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai. Jai Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki Jai. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Shri Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna ki Jai. Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mission ki Jai. Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki Jai. Acharya Vrinda ki Jai. Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Kolkartos ki Jai. The month of Kartika ki Jai. Upcoming Govardhan Hill Festival Day ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande Haribo. Dandavat devotees, have a glorious and meaningful day. The obstacle is the path, and He's in the center of everything, including the obstacles. Dandavat pranams. Haribo, Haribo.